Hey guys, so I've got two reasons for making this video. Actually, three reasons. One being that I just haven't made a video in a really long time, and I'm not dead. And I really want to make more videos, and I have so much stuff that I think about stuff that I don't have time to write down and say. So I'm going back to the format of where I'm just talking to you, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to appreciate that, as opposed to me looking at the screen and clearly reading something I wrote and getting really defensive about it. Because I work hard when I write my articles, but this is a separate thing. I understand that. I was doing that because I think that people have more fun watching videos than reading these days on the internet. I just wanted to reach a wider audience with what I'm writing. But if you want to read what I've been writing, go to BrokeTheInterweb.tumblr.com. I'll put it here with magic editing skills. Anyway, I wanted to talk about two issues. Charlie Hebdo, that's probably not how you say it, the French satire publication that was attacked last week. Several of the main editors and heads of that publication were murdered. I think only one of them just wasn't there at the time, and he survived. One of the head guys. But they seemed like they were all pretty good dudes, and I enjoyed reading about the history of their publication. It went through a few changes. It got in trouble with the law a few times for being too satirical. But I love stories like that because satire is such kind of an inspirational medium, to me at least, because I see satire as a way to show what's wrong with the world without being super depressing and boring. And those are two things I hate, when things are just way too sad or when they're not interesting at all. I love satire because it burns. And sometimes it burns people who don't want it to burn them, but that's the great thing, is that it can be applied to everyone equally. I think the best way to fight satire is with satire. But that's difficult because it takes wits. Not everybody has them. So the people that don't get angry and try to shut you up. Charlie Hebdo was publishing just satiric. I read a bunch of the cartoons they were publishing, and they were jabs at Islam, but they were funny. They were like anything that has contradictions or has stuff to make fun of, which is pretty much everything. They were clever insights, at least, I think. And even if they weren't, it was their right to publish them. And that's the thing about freedom of the press and freedom of speech. You can't pick and choose, or else it's not freedom anymore. You're supposed to be able to pick on whoever you want, and totally that's not going to stop you from making enemies. You should be making enemies if you're getting really critical and almost mean. But that's all you're allowed to do, is make enemies. Nothing is allowed to happen to you physically. Really, in a free country, they shouldn't be allowed to put you in a prison. They shouldn't be allowed to punish you. Maybe they'll punish you by society shunning you because they're mad about what you said. That's about as far as that's allowed to go, though. And that's kind of a very strict freedom in order to protect things that are considered over the line. They cross the line. Whatever the line is, it's based on where your insecurities lie. And if somebody crosses your insecurity line, they're going to get mad and try to shut you up. And I think that I've seen some people after this Charlie Hebdo attack say, of course it was wrong that they murdered those people, they were innocent people, but also they were getting really, really gross about Muslims. They're pretty, I don't know. I'm like, why even bring that up? It doesn't matter what they were being or what they were saying. Freedom of the press is freedom of the press, and you can tell me maybe that's not why that was invented, but ruffling the feathers of adversaries in thought is what makes our society progress to bigger and better things. So actually, I think it's pretty cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of people ask me, a lot of people ask me if I'm a Democrat. Some people have asked me if I'm a Republican. I get really proud when that happens, not because I'm a Republican or anything like it, but because someone who looks like me and acts like me and lives where I live is pretty much all grouped into, you're probably a liberal. And I'm not. Definitely not. Especially since I've started having a big hand in running a small business. Oh, I cannot be any less liberal. But I'm also not conservative. I'm both. And the reason that I advocate for modernism, and I think that if you're at all inclined to agree with what I'm saying, maybe you should consider this too. I'm not registered with any party, so I don't get to vote in primaries. But which really sucks that you're allowed to stop people from voting in primaries. We don't have enough third-party candidates for that to make it fair, but I wish we did. Since I become a moderate, I was actually raised in a really conservative household, and then when I became an adult, I registered as a Democrat, and I kind of thought it was hilarious to go tell my parents, hey, I'm a registered Democrat. And they were kind of upset, actually. They were like, you're what? Seriously? You don't support the president? And I'm like, George W. Bush? No, I don't really. And I mean, that was a really fun time to be a teenager, honestly, because I got to just make fun of George W. Bush all the time. And it was nothing heavy because I wasn't even a voting age. But when I was a voting age, I couldn't wait to be a Democrat. And it didn't take long for me to realize that party's pretty dirty too. And it's all just pretty dirty. So I didn't want to be a Democrat anymore either. They take just as many bribes. They fudge a lot of facts themselves, and that's obnoxious, especially when it puts regulations on people who have great ideas and want to do great things. When it stops them in their tracks, because or especially, this is the thing I can't stand about liberalism. One guy messes up, everybody has to pay. That's so dumb. And then the guy who messed up usually doesn't even get punished. He just has to get the spite of everybody else. And most people don't know where these laws came from. I sell computer parts. Well, I repair computers. Whenever I sell an LCD in California state, I have to pay a tax per LCD that I replace on someone's computer or phone. I have to pay a tax because they are assuming that by giving this to an end user, a consumer, it's going to end up in a dumpster, which is illegal. You're not allowed to throw an LCD in a dumpster because it'll just like ruin the environment. So we don't throw them away. The ones that are broken, we give to a recycler. But still, I have to pay a tax, and I have to keep records of every single LCD I replace and then send it to the government so they can tax me on it. That's freaking nuts. I can't handle it. But that's my argument for moderatism. And if you feel like you're one way or the other, but this is an intriguing concept to you, I implore you to, this is going to sound weird, but it actually did it for me. I started to watch, like, MSNBC and Fox News all the time, and I would alternate, and I would just sit there and be like, wow, these people they're not unintelligent, the politicians even were smart enough to get themselves elected, and some politicians are kind of dumb, but I tell you, the vast majority of them. I watch C-SPAN all the time. I listen to these people in their natural habitat when they don't have a script, when they're off the books. They're not dumb. They're just misguided by money and shaky morals, maybe, and a lot of bad influences around them. I think that's where most of the danger is from. The people around them telling them, no, this is actually how it goes. It's not the way you thought it was. Anyway, that's my argument for moderatism. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like the way I talk. I don't always talk like this. Sometimes I talk in a more obnoxious voice. But either way, I will be trying to make a lot more new videos. Thanks for watching, and have a great 2015. Happy New Year.